think everybody knows who Steve is.
Hello! We are here.
Welcome if you're here. And if anyone decides to watch us, please let us know. And say hi. Oh no, I forgot to hit mute on my side.
Yeah, there you go.
Whoops. It's all good. Pardon that. Okay. So, yeah, well, nobody saw that. Anyways.
They will when they go
Anyone that pops on, please feel free and say hi. We are here with one of our great friends, Steve from the Law Gnome.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to bring up the thing, too, so I'm going to make sure that I mute it as well, because I want to see who's in the comments.
Danielle.
There's 4 people watching, so...
Well, one of them's me, one of them's Lori, one of them's you.
Now there's 5. Hey, Alex is here. Hi, Alex. How are you? She was just on my last episode of Sunday Sit Down. That was one of the best episodes that we've ever had to date.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I think we talked about that a little over on Twitter. So I know this is supposed to be happy hour, but unfortunately only one of us is drinking tonight. That is
guilty as charged.
I am pregnant, so I cannot drink. Steve, you can go on with your reasons why you can't drink.
Yeah, I have 3 valid reasons today. The first one is the fact that I've got a holiday coming up in 2 weeks, which forbids me from eating normal food. If there are any Jews in the chat, you probably know that that is Passover. So.
Oh my God! He's not mean, I promise.
He's not. Otherwise, he wouldn't talk to me.
I know.
So that's number 1. So I just don't want to bring any food that really should not be in the house until the holiday is over. Number 2, I am trying to lose weight. I was doing well, and then I failed miserably. And to a certain degree, I will put the blame on my wife on that, because she is a certified chocoholic, and it is very hard to be in a house with healthy stuff when there's chocolate in the house. So the minute she brings in something new, and she showered me with chocolate on Valentine's Day, which was wow.
Sweet.
That's so romantic. I wish somebody did that to me.
So I was like, thanks for all the chocolate. That's going to be your fault when I have to try and shed all these pounds. But that's the second reason. And the third reason is the fact that I actually am in a room where I really don't want food to be, at least for a while.
I don't consider that one a valid reason, because liquid is not food.
Also, if that is like enough food zone, prepare to like lock it down when you have a baby.
Well, that is exactly what my wife told me. But also, you guys weren't here during the big Camel Cricket War of 2018, so that was pretty much the reason as to why I didn't want any food in here, because I wasn't too thrilled with these gigantic jumping bugs all over the lower level, and finding that they were all in these 2 specific closets where the pipes were. There were like tons of them. So basically, I was running around with a Bear Swiffer and spray, basically quoting lines from Mulan saying dishonor on your cow and dishonor on your whole family, while I was killing every single cricket. So
I love that saying. I used to say that all the time with my friends in high school. Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow. Dishonor.
My wife's got that on a t-shirt now.
That's a good movie.
Oh, wow.
He's my favorite character. I love him.
Yeah. So they did that. So after all that was finally said and done, the weather got cooler, so the bugs ran away. But the funny part was, I don't know when they're coming back, but I hope they won't, because I actually did do some sealing in those areas. Like I put some Instafoam in those cracks. So also we found out that in one of those areas where the pipes were, there was actually some exposed earth, like a whole chunk of the concrete foundation wasn't even there. So when I had put traps there to capture the bugs, because that's where I thought that they were coming, one night I actually caught a mouse. I was like, uh-oh.
Wow, that's Well, that's not food related. That's bad house maintenance.
I
On your end, but
I know, but the problem is you don't want them to smell anything. If they smell it, they will come, and they will not smell anything. I mean, right now I smell like a massive clove garden of garlic that can ward off vampires because I just had garlic knots with my dinner. So
hey, those are good though.
they are. They're absolutely amazing.
Whoever came up with garlic and butter and oil on bread, just I wish I could meet them and give them a big hug because I'm a massive garlic bread person.
Yeah, my wife's a big fan too. Very big fan. But look, I'm really glad to be here because I was really, taken aback by a lot of the things that were going on your Twitter feeds because you guys have been dealing with a lot of things, and your last video was absolutely wonderful. It was just, I feel that it was something that you guys had to do because you wanted everybody to know what was going on. But you know what? The people who truly appreciate and respect you guys, they're not going to care if you make one video every 3 months, if that's going to end up being something that happens in your future. You don't know.
Hey, this sounds like this is a little bit of deja vu.
I know, hon. I know that you've said this before. Keep in mind, I wasn't exactly in the right headspace when we were talking.
True. I always get that.
But I prefer this because something, usually on this point of the weekend, this is where it's really not a happy time because I'm just really upset over the fact that I got to go back to work and the whole work week begins again on Monday, get up early and all that. So I'm very happy that we're doing this because I think it's something that we could all use,
Yes. Procrast. I can't spell.
I asked how everyone was doing in the chat, and Daniel says should be doing my essay, but maybe later. And I totally understand that. I hated writing essays.
It's the great, yeah. It's the greatest blessing and the greatest curse. That is YouTube.
Yes, it is. Definitely. My YouTube got banned at work.
Did it?
Yes.
How did they find out?
Oh no, everybody's got banned, not just mine.
Oh.
Everybody's got banned.
Oh, okay. Well, see, he's on night shift. So when you're on night shift, he's a plant tech operator. There's really tech operator. I'm sorry, I can't talk. There tech. You go. Sorry. You just watch the plant. Pretty much just watch plant paint dry unless something goes wrong. So that it's like, what else can you do during that time?
I sit there and I watch charts and I walk around the plant and I listen to machines go and try not to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate white noise.
Yes, it is, especially when you have earplugs in and then you crank the AC down to freeze everybody out so they want to stick in their control room for the shortest amount of time.
Right.
It's nice because generally when that happens, I'm like, I don't want to deal with you people. Just go away, get out of my hair. But,
Yeah, something, this year my office just officially instituted this whole flex hours idea where you now can actually work from home 1 day a week. I gotta tell you, you know what? I really feel, and it's sort of strange, I feel like I accomplish so much more working at home than I do at the actual office.
I think there's actually been studies on that because you're away from everybody. You get just in the zone in your own comfort area. And I think there's actually studies on that prove that actually employees, especially office workers, are more productive at home.
And I also feel that because of the fact that you are home, there's a certain urgency in your mind that you want your coworkers to know that you are keeping busy. So you feel a lot more focused, but also, where I work, it's a great work environment. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't trade this job for anything in the world. But there's a point in time where there's like a whole group of people, later on in the day, they congregate and they're just happen to be right near my desk and they just won't stop yakking. And I'm like, yeah. There's only so much that headphones can cancel out because unfortunately you can't have noise canceling headphones because if your boss needs you and you can't hear him or her, you're in trouble.
Shoot me a text, damn it.
Well, with Thomas's new job, he would have to work from home every now and then. So that's going to be an adjustment.
That's going to be when I go in the bedroom and I shut the door and I get on the computer.
I don't think I can say too much about it, but I've actually kind of like got a look as to how that would be. And I'm looking at it with the computer and I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. What are you doing? And him and his future coworker just like talking about what's going on and looking at the computer. Even the other guy's wife was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm here like, I don't understand. What are you looking at? It was an experience.
Yeah, I mean, my wife and I, we share an office space, but normally when she's doing her work, I don't usually want to be in there. Quite frankly, what's also kind of funny is that I usually end up bringing my laptop down here because this is where I do all of my live streaming now. And I've stretched myself ultra thin this month. It's crazy because I had a live show yesterday. I have a live show with you guys tonight. I have a live show on Tuesday. And then the week after that, I've got another live stream on Saturday, and then I got you guys the next day.
Oh, yeah, we're going to be on your channel.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I have to actually start writing up some questions for you guys.
Oh, great.
The Sunday sit down was probably one of the best ideas that I came up with for my channel because I just love the idea of bringing people on the show to introduce them to the people who watch me. And I also just like to talk to so many different people about so many different things. And I'm not afraid to go in any direction. I love the fact that I've actually been able to talk about some sensitive, hot button topics as well as just some fun, casual topics.
Yeah, no doubt. That's definitely. Where I work at, we get truck drivers from all over the Eastern Seaboard. So we have all of that. We get them from all the way from Mississippi east. So whenever they come in, I've had discussions with Massachusetts Democrats, and
if you don't know, he's more right.
I'm conservative.
We're both conservative. So.
Yes.
If anyone's watching.
So I've had conversations with them. I've had I've had conversations with college liberals.
Good discussions, right?
Good discussions, good conversations. I've had conversations with your typical conservative, and I've had people that are even more conservative than I am. Conversations with them, and as long as everybody stays calm, I've even been called a very angry person during a conversation.
You are a very angry person
because of what I said for the border, but that's besides the point.
Well,
it's nice that you could have that discussion with somebody with differing views.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's. I hate it how I guess the media portrays that you're just constantly fighting the other side, and that's not always the case.
Nope. And I would say the one hot button conversation that I do get kind of passionate about would be gun control.
Yeah, that's a very big topic. Very important to have a rational discussion about it. I mean, you do know that YouTube is the reason why I became a conservative.
Really?
Oh yeah, BookTube. It's all their fault.
It's all BookTube.
It's really BookTube's fault. I'm not going to lie about that. I was a very liberal mind for a while, and the funny thing was, if it wasn't for BookTube, I wouldn't have heard anything about the silencing of free speech on college campuses or the whole concept of people fighting with the whole racist, misogynist, diversity, all these things. It was because of one video that was made by someone that I knew on YouTube, and that was when I found out what an SJW was. I was like, what is this? What? I was like, where the hell have I been?
I completely forgot about that conversation. Was I falling asleep?
So I just said to myself, what is going on? So I started doing my research, and I was like, this is what my side is turning into. I'm like, I don't want any part of this. Goodbye.
So I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Oh yes.
Anybody in the chat listen to podcasts? Any podcasts? Go ahead. I just wanted to know if anybody else watches.
So just to answer the random question from Clorox Bleach on our chat, because that's just hilarious that Clorox was in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and say this stream is about whatever the hell we want to talk about.
As long as it's clean.
Yes. The dirtiest part that's going to happen is the drinking on my end. So.
And again, if you're just now showing up to the party, he's the only one drinking because, hey, I'm pregnant, and since I'm pregnant, I'm eating a Blizzard. And
there you go. I have never had a Blizzard in my life. And I want one so badly.
Oh my God.
It's not. You can't have it because it's not kosher, can you?
It's ice cream.
But I mean,
no. The kosher talk we'll talk about another. I don't even want to go into that. I'm going to confuse too many people.
Oh wait, Steve.
Yeah.
Louise said, "Can you elaborate more on the liberal things that made you turn the other side?"
Well, I think the real thing. Well, who was saying it?
Luis. He's from the Philippines.
Oh, it was pretty much the fact that I felt that people who didn't think in those specific ways were getting attacked in a extremely false manner. I didn't appreciate the fact that if, God forbid, someone made something that was politically incorrect, or someone who just decided to make something that didn't have diversity in terms of sexuality or skin color, that wasn't necessarily supposed to mean that that person was trying to be offensive and hurt people's feelings. The person was just writing something for the sake of writing something, or making something in entertainment for the sake of making something in entertainment. I just feel that it's not about that when it comes to things that I enjoy. It's about a good story with good characters, regardless of what they look like. And the fact that when someone says that, they're saying, oh, that means you just don't care, you're a racist, you're a sexist. I'm like, no, thank you. And that's not the way that I think. That's not the way that I view things. And what I find so interesting is that the more conservatives I speak to, the more they want to talk to the other side and try to find some common ground. And there are very few on the other side that want to do the exact same thing. I'm glad to the fact that I know a few of those types of people.
Oh, do I sense a disagreement?
I have to disagree. On the other side, not wanting to have that conversation. I think too many of the mainstream. Who is this Clorox Bleach person? Oh my gosh!
Some people just live to get offended.
Yes.
Yes, keeping tabs made a very good point there. I appreciate that very much.
Oh.
Yes, keeping tabs, yes.
No, first of all, I want to agree with you, because the problem is it's those people who don't want to talk that speak louder. That's the problem. It's always the extremes are the loudest screamers. The squeaky wheel always gets the grease. That's the problem.
The issue right now is the more passionate you are about something, the louder you are, the more crazy you want to be about it, the more attention you're getting. And 9 times out of 10, I would say probably 75% of Americans just want to sit there. We all agree on the same. There are issues in our country right now, and issues that need to be fixed. We don't agree on what the start point is. We know the issue is there.
Can't agree on a solution.
We can't agree on a solution, and the people that are there to make the solutions aren't having a conversation. All they want to do is appeal to their base.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. That's the problem. They want to appeal to the loudmouths, and they don't want to acknowledge the rational people who are a true majority on both ends. That's the problem, which is why I keep saying to my wife that the Democratic primary is probably going to be the greatest sitcom of 2019, because I am just really excited to see these people eat each other alive. But
I'm going to enjoy it because each one's going to force themselves to get more and more radical.
Yeah, it's so funny.
That going both ways. I mean,
make that clear.
2024, depending on what happens in 2020, 2024 is going to be very interesting. I would like to return to normalcy. I'm tired of the front page of everything being politics. I would like to go back to
the good things that are happening.
Yeah, more of the good stuff, less of the let's make politics into Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Hollywood.
I don't like the fact that politics is basically bled into everything. It's like you literally. I was like, it was one thing for politics to seep into Hollywood, but the minute it got into sports, I was done. Like I was so angry. I couldn't believe that.
Well, football, all of them are doing it. You turn on ESPN, they talk more politics than any of the mainstream media newscasts.
Okay. The only thing I remember was the football.
That's because that's the only thing I complain about.
True. Yeah. I only ever hear about politics from him. I cannot listen or watch anything that involves politics because I think I just let it get to me. And that's not something, I'm working on that. I'm trying not to let it get to me. And he's helping me with that by like kind of putting me in a situation to have that conversation.
I'll ask you questions.
Yeah, and he'll make me.
And I'll play devil's advocate.
Yeah, it drives me nuts, you guys. It drives me so nuts when he wants to play devil's advocate with me.
That's why I wanted to go sit in your father's or in Pops's.
Oh yeah. So Steve and anyone that's still watching, my dad, he's a dean of a community college, but he's also he teaches a class on ethics, and he's very good. And he's also a Catholic. He's a conservative, but he's very, very good on playing both sides. So not only can he defend the conservative side, he can also defend on the liberal side. And one of the exercises that he did, I'm just going to bring up a hot topic, one of the hot topics, abortion, for instance, because he brought it up with me. He says, okay, to anyone that's against abortion, think of an argument for pro-abortion. Anyone that is for abortion, think of an argument against abortion. And he's like making them try to see the other side, because you can't exactly have a good discussion or debate if you're not open to hearing the other person's views, if that makes sense. It was just, he asked me that question, and I'm pro-life, and I had a hard time trying to find an argument for it.
That's great, though. That's an excellent thing to do. I mean, my favorite thing to do is if I want to get my wife to get really angry, all I have to do is scream Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and she goes berserk. She despises her so much. It's the most hilarious. I love the fact that a lot of the conservative media, that's all they talk about. It's like, if you've had a rough day today, here's what she did today. This will make you feel better.
So here's two things. I noticed that I was getting too into just the Daily Wire. I was getting all my stuff from the Daily Wire.
Right.
And I noticed I was starting to get into a vacuum. And I tried very hard not to do that. I noticed I was bringing up their talking points. So, and they're not bad talking points to bring up. Shapiro does a great job with that. So I started listening to Steven Crowder because I like his change my mind.
He's great. I do enjoy him.
I think sometimes he goes too sardonic, or if I'm using that word correctly, sarcastic. So that aspect, and then
Are you getting distracted by the
chat? No.
Oh, sorry.
So I also started listening to Joe Rogan. And completely opposite end of the spectrum, but I had to get somebody that I could actually tolerate listening to.
We can't listen to it in front of the kids, though.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's the one. Yeah, don't. That's one of those few things in this world that you don't want to fill them. You don't want to book them while they're young. You want to let them grow into that as they get a little bit older. No, you're absolutely right. It's very healthy to see the other side, because you want to know what they're thinking. You want to know how they're talking. I mean, I think I will watch. If I'm really in the mood for it, I will definitely watch Tucker Carlson at night. I love his show because I love how he likes to focus on the social issues that are going on in the world. But then I'll just flip over to CNN and see what they're talking about, because I want to see what both sides are talking about. And even though I know he is as liberal as they come, I do appreciate some of the things that Bill Maher talks about, because even though he disagrees with a great deal of the conservatives out there, I do appreciate the fact when he basically says our side is no better and we need to be better. You know,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, because he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right.
So my issue with CNN is, and this is all the mainstream media. I don't watch. Sometimes I'll turn on Fox for like 10 minutes to get the highlights, and then I shut it off. So my issue with CNN is they are way too far biased, and the bias is very clear.
You're absolutely right.
I don't watch Hannity because Hannity is the same way.
Hannity is one step closer to coming on his live show with a tinfoil hat on. You know it's going to happen. I really believe he's starting to lose his mind.
I think Fox will get rid of him just like they did O'Reilly with it. I mean, O'Reilly had other stuff going on, but Bill O'Reilly also was pretty far right, to the point where it was like, dude, you can't even have a regular conversation.
I mean, I seriously think these guys, I think that Hannity is one step away from falling into Alex Jones territory, and that's dangerous. Very dangerous.
So I'm listening to these podcasts, and I'm realizing the other side's the points. And it's like, why? How do we argue with this? How do we get them to see abortion?
That's a very, very.
I'm not going to go into it, pick sides either way. I am pro-life, but I can understand both sides on certain aspects.
We even have disagreements on certain aspects of it.
Because pro-life also goes into the death penalty, and I am 100% for the death penalty. I think that as soon as you're sentenced to death, you should be put to death. Put them in front of a firing squad. Make it as brutal as possible so that the next person doesn't do it. I'm sorry, but if you get convicted of raping a child, then it should be televised torture, in my opinion.
I appreciate what Ben Shapiro said. Ben Shapiro says that rapists should be castrated.
Yes.
And then thrown into prison for life.
Yeah. With no.
I agree 100% with his method. It's cruel. It's cruel, but you know something? That's disgusting what those types of people do. They don't deserve any kind of sympathy. None. Wow, this show took a really interesting turn. I'm very happy to see some good people in the comments. By the way, I don't know if you guys knew, but Stacy in the comments, you guys know that we actually met twice already. We actually did that. Yeah.
Subscribe to Stacy's channel. I love her channel. She seems really nice.
Stacy is one of my oldest and dearest friends on YouTube. She has been such a supporter, and just in case you didn't know, she just hit 1,000 subscribers, and let me tell you, it's about time. I have been advocating for Stacy's channel for years now, and the fact that we actually got to see each other when my wife and I did our annual trip to DC, because that's the area that she lives in, it was just great to spend some time with her. And the minute we told her that we were coming back again, because unfortunately in 2018 we didn't go down because we took a trip to Disney World and Universal, because that was a vacation plan that my wife and I have had for pretty much since we both knew that we were going to get married. And we basically decided that Disney and Universal was going to be the last trip that we took where we could actually act like kids before we actually decide to have kids of our own. Yeah. And I'll tell you, it was one of the best vacations that I've had in a while. But because of the fact that right after that, the summer involved us looking for our house, we couldn't come back to DC, and we were crushed because we wanted to, because she's got so many friends down there because that's where she went to college, and Stacy's down there too. So it's great to know that my wife's got friends down there. I've got some friends down there. So the fact that we came back on President's Week and was so awesome, and the fact that we got to see everybody that we wanted to see throughout our entire trip down there made it all worthwhile. Stacy and Jen and I had such a fun time just laughing at the Hirshhorn Museum. We have officially decided that we will never understand modern art, no matter how hard we try. I swear to God, we should have had little bottles of acid with us in the museum, and maybe something would have made sense.
Well, considering that aspect, most of the people that are artists tend to be very drug-induced also.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
I actually have two questions for you.
Sure.
How far progressive were you before you became conservative?
I don't even think I was a progressive. I believe that what I was a traditional liberal. That's what I was. That's what my wife still is. She is against progressivism. She's against third wave feminism. She believes that everything that she believes in is not what the mainstream believes in anymore.
Okay, so that's my second question. How can a practicing Jew or even a practicing religious person in the Judeo-Christianity become on the left? How can they stand for what the left stands for?
Well, I'll tell you a little fun fact. All of the observant Jews are all registered Democrats, but they all vote for the Republican candidate.
I just looking, and I didn't become political until about I got out of the Marine Corps in like 2015. And that's when I really started paying attention to what was going on in the world because I didn't want to get back.
Yeah, you see, Stacy just wrote it in the comments. She goes, "I knew Steve when he was pretty liberal, but he always had an open mind."
You do. You do have a very open
And
mind.
that's why I have no problem having a conversation with you.
Yeah, but that was it. It's like, and right now, I really didn't want to continue going down this path because I don't want to have any I don't want you guys to have any issues with YouTube, but I am very nervous as a Jewish person living in this country right now because of some of those brand new senators, especially all the talk about.
I appreciate his service.
Ooh, Rob. Sorry. I had to say it.
Nah.
So I completely understand, especially with the whole resolution that came out against all hate.
Yeah.
Instead of condemning the one person that should have been condemned.
I'll tell you.
We can totally get on different.
Yeah. I'll just tell you the God's honest truth. Trump's gonna have to play that card if he wants to truly win this election. He's gonna play the socialism card. He's gonna play the anti-Semitism card. And I personally want to see whoever ends up running against him. I'd really like to see how they're going to fight him on that, because I honestly believe that they are not going to have a way to answer that question, because they know that if they do that, they lose the base.
I feel like what's going to happen is they're going to go super radical for the primary, and then they're going to backstep.
I agree, unless it's Bernie.
Yeah, true. But
my dad's nervous because my dad seriously thinks that he could beat Trump. He really does.
We'll see what happens. So
we will.
Well, other than politics,
yeah.
Drink.
Come on, Laura, you're barely saying anything.
So I could think of a topic.
Yeah, let the politics person get out of the room.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody notices, but I'm sorry, Tabby. Okay, so I don't know, Steve, if you noticed in the chat, they're talking about some books. First, Red Rising, then Beautiful Creatures. I don't know if you've read Beautiful Creatures.
I actually subjected myself to the movie.
Yes, I did too.
Oh my God! Daniel just mentioned 50 Shades of Grey. Watch my channel tomorrow.
Get back in here. We can talk 50 Shades. Okay,
Watch my channel tomorrow morning at 7:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh my gosh, he's gonna he suffered through all 3 movies of 50 Shades, so he's gonna post his review on it. He actually liked the series.
I like the books.
The books. He's not a fan of the movie.
I didn't realize the underlying issues of 50 Shades. So I also read them as when did they come out?
The books are somewhere over there in that stack.
Oh, I have a phone and right here.
Probably under my homes.
Nope, I can't. I gotta get rid of that.
You gotta go to Goodreads.
No, I can just go look it up.
Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, while he's looking at that, so they're talking beautiful creatures. Not a fan of the movie. And then Louise said it was better than Twilight. And I said, well, I feel like any book is better than Twilight. And keeping tabs, she loves the Twilight series, and she goes out on my feelings.
Well, that's actually kind of funny because
I think it's
I watched all 5 Twilight movies, and what I'm doing tomorrow with 50 Shades is the second time I'm doing this themed video. The first time was with Twilight. And the funny part was, my wife and I, we were dating at the time. My wife actually sat with me during Breaking Dawn Part 1, and she couldn't stop laughing because I was yelling at the TV. I'm like, what the hell is this? I was dumbfounded by...
They're not vampires, bro.
It was, oh my God. It was the worst thing I ever subjected myself to.
Yeah, they're blood-sucking fairies. I only saw I read all 4 books. Enjoyed the books when I was a teenager. I read them in high school. So I was still in that everything has to be drama mode.
Daniel says, fun fact, Stephanie Meyer's husband's name is Christian, and Keeping Tabs says, I feel like 50 Shades is low-key a masterpiece.
I feel we can go into 50 Shades conversations, but no, we're not.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that April Fool's episode. It's going to be too funny. I was very happy with it, as well as the classical piece that I chose for the background music.
Very well.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So I think, in all honesty, I've talked about how Twilight was the beginning of the YA uprising and how it was a very cultural piece on Twilight when it came out in books. So Stacy, you're probably not gonna like the books now, and being an adult. I know a lot of adults.
I hated it.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot. I know a few adults that have reread it and not liked it.
Yeah, my sister actually had the books, and I actually wanted to ask. I actually kept trying to borrow them for her. She goes, "You aren't." Her exact words were, "You're a straight guy. You're not gonna like them. Trust me."
My sister was obsessed with that series.
My sister doesn't even know why she owns them anymore. She loved them when she was a girl, when she was a teenager, but now she doesn't care for them. But you're right, Thomas. That was basically the beginning of the explosion of YA. You're absolutely right, because right after that, you had the Hunger Games, you had the Maze Runner, you had Divergent, you had all that stuff.
Hunger Games and Divergent were very good. I loved where those series went. And on the issues that came out afterward, what the fuck was I going to say? I read a comment and I stopped thinking.
This is what happens when you constantly look at the comment section of the chat, because you're like a deer in headlights. Chat. No, that's me. I'm the one that goes squirrel.
So I hated what they did with the Divergent series, because for movies, they could have taken that to a whole scientific sci-fi level that would have just been absolutely amazing. The books were great for me, although I feel like they rushed the end of it. The Hunger Games, I hated the end for the Hunger Games, although I hated the end. I wish the movie would have actually done the end for that. And then for the Twilight and 50 Shades analogy, I can honestly see the resemblance in both of them just thinking about it, because I never really think about it before. Was you have two people, a girl that is super naive and super, I just need, I need this person in my life, otherwise I'm going to lose my mind and I'm not myself. She rolls her entire self into the relationship, and then when she loses the relationship, she's not her own self anymore. You have this guy that's kind of stalkerish, extremely creepy, and into rape culture. And I'm just going to say that out loud because the movies were pretty, that's not considered BDSM from people I've actually talked to that are into BDSM. And so I could see the outlying issues in a lot of that type of stuff.
I also think one of the interesting things about where we are now in terms of books, especially when it comes to adapting them into movies, I think that the era of the YA post-apocalyptic science fiction, I think we're done now. I think it's actually gone. And I think right now the big thing is turning the young adult contemporary novels into films now, which to me is a little bit of a somber thing, because I would love to see the Lunar Chronicles in film. I think that those would be fantastic. The two series that I read, thanks to BookTube, that I love so dearly, that even though they're great in book form, would be so amazing on the big screen. The Lunar Chronicles is #1, and the Mistborn Trilogy, which is so amazing. It's one of the best fantasy books I've ever read in my entire life. I couldn't get over Brandon Sanderson's writing.
I actually bought my first Brandon Sanderson book.
He did. I was trying to get him to read Brandon Sanderson for a long time, but who ends up convincing him? The lady at the bookstore and not his wife.
You tried to convince me with a YA, and I hate YA.
He didn't read like a YA.
I hate YA.
I didn't read like a YA. Way of things.
Ah, I see that. Yeah, the Mistborn Trilogy I read, and I blasted through those books because I was just so into them. And what I love so much about his writing is not only does he give me such amazing characters, but especially since you brought up the Hunger Games, my biggest issue with Mockingjay in the books was that it was so different from the other two, and it really was a visual story. You really couldn't see it unfolding well on the pages of the book. With Sanderson, when he writes action sequences, like, you can see every punch, every breath. You can see it.
That's what I like about the R.S. Belker series, the Six Gun Turret.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a 4-person fight scene, as in 4 different people fighting at the same time, and transitions between each character fighting so flawlessly that it was just absolutely amazing. And
because the main character in Mistborn, her name is Vin, and she's great. In the 3rd book, it opens up with an amazing action sequence, and I read this whole thing that she does, like this crazy action sequence that she does in midair, and then when she officially hits the ground, I'm like, holy crap, she literally just did an Iron Man. Like, I was like, the only thing that was missing was Shoot to Thrill by AC/DC in the background. I'm like, she literally just did an Iron Man thing. And I met Brandon Sanderson at BookCon last year, and I got his autograph. And what I loved so much about him was he didn't want to push like all the people away to finish his autograph. He actually talked to you. So
wow.
Well, first of all, I knew I was going to have a great conversation with the guy because he was wearing a Calvin and Hobbes t-shirt, so there was a great thing right off the bat. But I just said I cannot get over how amazing you write your stories. And I said, even though you picture everything so clearly, I want Mistborn on the big screen, please.
So for the Hunger Games, I have a very vivid imagination.
Mhm.
That's part of the reason why I'm so, especially with the father-in-law writing a book and getting it published. I've been thinking about writing a book one day when I have time. Once I get to my fitness goals and get a college degree, then I'll pick up a book, or I'll pick up the pages. So I didn't have that issue. Sometimes I supplement details without thinking about it, and then I'll go back and reread it, and I won't realize I did it until I reread it, and I'm like, wait a minute, that didn't happen like I imagined it. And so it kind of changes when I read. So there's times where I have to sit there and actually sit back and go, I put the book down and get myself out of the book world instead of, that. The Fifth Wave, the first book sucked and the second two were amazing.
I know the Fifth.
I saw the Fifth Wave film and I wanted to die. It was horrible.
Yes.
I mean, I used to write a lot when I was a kid. I used to write a lot of cool science fiction and some fan fiction stories too. I once wrote an amazing Batman story based around the Bruce Timm animated universe, based on all the shows that I watched. I basically wrote a story about how the other superheroes tried to solve the mystery of Batman's death because he was killed mysteriously in the shadows. And I might as well say it. Basically, in my story, Superman killed him because Superman went rogue. Superman went rogue. He had a hidden love affair with Wonder Woman, and she also went rogue. So it was pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Oh, V for Vendetta.
I didn't know that was a book. I know I've seen the movie. I love the movie.
Okay, wait. Is V for Vendetta a book or was it more of a graphic novel?
V for Vendetta is a graphic novel written by the crazy man that he is, Alan Moore.
I enjoyed the movie.
V for Vendetta, the movie, is very different from the comic book. However, it's a great movie. That was pretty much the movie that put me back on Natalie Portman's good graces after Star Wars.
Oh, you didn't like her in Star Wars?
It's not that I didn't like her in Star Wars. The problem with those movies is the fact that George Lucas doesn't know how to write dialogue if his life depends on it.
You agree with that? You're fine.
I am into my about a quarter way into my second drink. I can only do one thing at once.
But no, I mean, Alan Moore is one of the craziest comic book writers of all time. And he's given us some amazing creatures and characters and stuff like that. He's given us Swamp Thing. He's given us Constantine. He's written he wrote the greatest comic book of all time, which is Watchmen.
Daniel. Am I saying that wrong? Daniel. Is it Daniel or Danielle?
I think it's Daniel.
It's just Daniel.
Danielle would be spelled Danielle.
Oh. Yeah, he got some alcohol.
I don't know these things. I ain't not that smart.
Yeah. Daniel, as soon as you said
Watchmen is brilliant, and the film is great too.
See, I remember when the film came out, and the commercial just kind of turned me off for it because the artwork was. See, okay, thank you. I was hoping for that comment because I don't know you.
Yeah, Watchmen, the movie is very good because it is pretty much 99.9% accurate to the comic.
Really?
The only difference in the movie is the ending. And quite frankly, the same outcome does happen. It's just by a different event of things. And quite frankly, it makes more sense in the film than it does in the book.
I don't think that the trailer did the Watchmen credit then.
You know something? And I'll tell you why. Because it didn't. Because people knew that unless you were a fan of the comic book, you were not going to go see that movie. And
I
also,
can understand that.
and because of the fact that Zack Snyder was the director, I was front row center because I don't care what anybody says about Zack Snyder. He is a comic book fan, and every comic book movie that he has made is some of my absolute favorites.
So we're coming up on 10 minutes into the hour, or 10 minutes left of the hour. This is generally where I ask, do you mind going over an hour, or do you have plans?
I was anticipating 2 hours of this.
Okay, because that's generally how our live stories have been, our live shows have been going, is generally 2 hours.
So I guess we can go over a little bit. We still have a good amount of people hanging out with us, which is great.
Thank you,
We
guys.
got a nice crowd. Very nice crowd.
Yeah, we weren't anticipating very much anybody showing up.
Stacy asked, he did Sin City, right?
The answer is no. The Sin City comic books were written by Frank Miller, and the movie was actually co-directed by Frank Miller and Robert Rodriguez. And for one scene, Quentin Tarantino.
It was a black and white with red movie, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Sin City was also one of the greatest comic book films that I ever saw. It was exactly what it was. Just the whole style was perfect. So perfect. And literally right after that, 300 came out, and that was even more awesome. Oh, yeah. 300 is awesome.
300 was amazing.
And that's Zack Snyder. That's Zack Snyder.
Every guy in the world probably loved that movie, unless they were Persian, and they probably might not have enjoyed it.
And you know something? I even enjoy the sequel. I do like the sequel as well.
I never watched the sequel because I thought it was going to be garbage.
You know what? It was produced by Zack Snyder. It wasn't directed by him, but I had a feeling that if I liked the first one, I was going to enjoy the second one. And that's what you got to do. It's like, I think that what people need to do is they can't go into movies with extremely high expectations anymore, because
my issue is I go into too low of expectations, so it makes me not even want to spend the money to go. And since the fact of movies are so damn expensive now, with the four of us and soon to be five, we're generally spending $100 to go to the movies.
Hey.
So
dare I say it? Dare I say it? You got to get up early and you got to go to the matinee. You want to know how much? I went to go see a movie on Saturday with my wife. You know how much it costs us for both of us? $14.
That's not even the popcorn and stuff.
Oh, we don't get food at the movies.
How dare you?
I don't eat during the movie, because if I eat during the movie, I'm not going to focus. And two, I don't want to go to the bathroom.
I understand the not going to the bathroom part.
I eat twice as much salted popcorn. You don't have to go to the bathroom. It sucks the fluid out of your body.
I don't even like popcorn.
Nope. No.
Well, folks, about that, we might have
I have never liked popcorn in my entire life.
Wow, I've never met anyone that has not liked popcorn.
My wife eats it, but I don't like it. I never liked it. I don't like the look. I don't like the smell. I don't like the taste.
That's sacrilege, bro.
Daniel Status's comment. Yep.
I don't even know what to say now. Okay, just get off of the movie aspect because you ruined it.
No, it's also because of the fact that when I go to a movie, I'm working, because there's going to be a review on my channel very soon. Watching movies work.
His movie reviews very seriously.
That's part of the process.
I mean,
you just aren't adding enough butter, my friend. You were just not adding enough butter.
No, dude, I'll eat a stick of butter, okay? I'll go Homer Simpson. I'll put waffles wrapped around a stick of butter if I could.
Oh my god.
Okay, so on a serious note, on a booktube note, what are you reading? What are your goals for April of this year?
I feel like he did a video recently.
I didn't see it, so I can ask.
Update.
Yeah, that was this morning.
Okay, so I didn't see the video, so you're going to repeat yourself.
I don't care. Well, I will never be one of those truly great booktubers that can review like 25 books in a month. I mean, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm going to be on a live show on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. on Sophisticated Books channel, and one of the people who's going to be in that group is Murphy Napier's like, there's some serious booktubers. And the topic is, how do you review books? I'm like, Sophie does know that I don't review books on my channel, right? Because for me, it's like, when it comes to books, it's like either I like it or I don't. I can't really go into the way that I review movies is how BookTube reviews books.
See, you might have seen some of my book reviews.
Sure.
I like to lay out the basic points. I get a lot of pointers from her. I don't know if I do more of a book review or a book summary.
Mm-hmm.
Because I try to stay away from spoilers, and then I also try to sell the book, because generally, if I'm doing a book review, it's something I enjoy.
Right.
I don't review bad books.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and sometimes, rarely do I ever. I rarely DNF books. I've only DNF'd books, two books in my entire life.
Well,
he's reading Crooked Kingdom
I am
right
currently
now.
struggling.
Crooked Kingdom.
Something, that's one of those few books that I'm still uncertain if I would actually enjoy. There are some books that so many people talk about, and I don't know if it's for me.
In all honesty, do you like heist movies? Not Ocean's heist movies. Like, what was the one that had Transporter in? The guy from Transporter?
Jason Statham?
Yeah. What was that one that had him in there?
There's so many that he's been in. He
the one where they stole the gold in the Mini Coopers.
Oh, are you referring to The Italian Job?
Yes.
You know what? My wife loves that movie, and I don't care for it.
Really?
I'm not. You know what's also so weird about me? I'm not really into a typical action movie.
Did you like?
I'll just come clean. I don't like Die Hard.
Oh no, that's two. No popcorn.
You're on strike two, bro. You're on strike two.
I love Bruce Willis, though. He's one of my favorite actors.
Okay, you saved yourself.
No,
I can't believe you. That is the ultimate Christmas movie.
No, listen. I will not deny that it's the ultimate Christmas movie. It's just not my thing. No, I haven't seen any of the Fast and Furious.
Stop. Just stop.
Wait.
What about? Okay, just answer this question, yes or no.
Sure.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Love it.
Okay, you're saved.
That's one of my. I saw that movie 2 times in theaters. That's also an Alan Moore novel. Alan Moore wrote that one too.
Really?
Yeah.
So it has the aspect of every popular heist movie. There are points where I disagree with it. There are points where it's like, hey, this is actually a really good book. I think I'm gonna wind up giving it a 4 stars, even though between 20 and 50%, it has definitely been very slow for me. But I'm at the point where everything's coming together, and it's like, I haven't really tried to read too far into what was going to happen.
Stacy.
Yeah, Stacy. Apparently, my friendship is over with Stacy.
No,
Stacy. Lori used to say I look like Vin Diesel.
She says, Steve, I shaved Grant's head when I saw Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious.
No, it's like my favorite Bruce Willis movie is The Fifth Element. That is the coolest science fiction film of all time.
I agree.
So
I was so angry that I couldn't see it in theaters when I was a kid because I did bad on my finals in high school. So my parents punished me. I couldn't see it in theaters, and I was so angry.
Tabby, I definitely agree with you. Although the second 60% of the book has been a lot more action and heist ability, and how we're going to screw this guy than what the rest of it has been. So what the hell I can say?
I don't know.
Well, we still never talked about what I was going to be reading this year. We completely went off completely off the chain there.
It blew my mind with the no popcorn.
I know, and
killed
then no
me.
Die Hard.
And then no Die Hard.
Ah!
I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I have so many awesome movies right behind me, but
Daniel, I've read Cirque du Freak. You're the only other person I know that sat there and actually read all the series. I loved it. It's fucking amazing, and I just added it to my. It's a vampire circus, time travel,
with
insanity.
With actual vampires.
Yes.
He even tried to make a movie out of that.
What?
Cirque du Freak they tried to make that into a movie series. And
yeah, I saw the trailer for that. It was garbage. First of all,
no, it's like
they picked the vampire. I don't like their acting.
Okay, so the year started off very strong for books for me. I'm in the middle of Marissa Meyer's newest soon-to-be trilogy, the Renegade Saga, which is so cool. Love the Renegade Saga. And then what?
So the Renegades, I've been like on the fence on reading that or not.
If you love superhero stuff, it's right up your alley. It's cool. Okay. It's really cool. And I actually will say that I think that thanks to that book, Marissa Meyer's writing improved a great deal in that series.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, because of the fact that I loved the Renegades so much, and I'm so excited for Supernova in November. Next year, I want to do an episode of Versus that I actually pit the Lunar Chronicles against the Renegade Saga and see which one is better. And I've already got Shay from Shay Geeks Out and April from April Sarah. They're officially my panelists for this. They are so excited for this.
I'm gonna be watching that.
Yeah, Shayla and I are gonna do a live show hopefully in May or June. We have to do a live show about the Orville, which is one of our favorite shows. So we're really excited for that. So after Renegades, I read the 4th book in the Miss Peregrine series, the Map of Days, and I really liked it. It took me a while to get through it because that was right around the time where I found out that I had tendonitis in my knees, so I was just not in the right headspace. But right now, I'm in the middle of the 5th book in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King, and god damn it, this book is so boring. And I think what's kind of funny is like I was talking to Murphy Napier about it. Apparently, I'm not the only one who feels that way. Apparently, people say that the 5th book in that series is the weakest one.
Really?
Although there are a great deal of elements that remind me of the Magnificent Seven in this book.
Tabby from Keeping Tabs asked Steve, have you read Leviathan Wakes?
No, I have not, but I have actually heard the book's name. Right now, the big book that everyone is talking about is Priori and the Orange Tree. That's the big book that everyone's talking about right now.
Yeah, I told you.
It's about dragons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very strong female characters, stuff like that. Yeah, I've seen that going around. I don't think I'm gonna pick it up though.
And I'm trying so hard to finish this Dark Tower book because I've got 2 more books before I officially complete it, because I've really been enjoying The Gunslinger up until this point. It's been a very cool series. It's definitely one of Stephen King's most interesting works because it's not a horror movie. It's not a horror story. It's a mixture of science fiction, fantasy, and Western, which is a very unusual combination, but it works.
See, I think you would like, and I'm not trying to like overly do this, but the Six Gun Tarot series is Nevada 1970 or 1870, I believe, with supernatural aspects.
Cool.
And occult, some of creation from the Bible in there.
Of various religions.
Various supernatural. Basically, the author took all of this different bleh and throw it into a mixing pot, and it worked. He's that well of a.
He doesn't stop talking about it. He did Did we post that review?
No, you
I
haven't edited it yet.
I have to edit his book review because he talked for like 20 minutes. But yeah, he won't stop talking about it. He wants me to try and read it, but I can't.
No, I said you're not going to read it.
Oh, that's right, because it involves like trigger warning because there's babies dying, being sacrificed. So I'm not reading it.
There's a baby that gets sacrificed in an orgy aspect.
Eek.
Yeah, it's something you skim through real quick if you have to.
Well,
but just the type of stuff that you've been talking about, I think you would actually read it.
Oh, Tabby.
It might actually be and enjoy it.
And Tabby said if Priory was a definite standalone, I would consider it, but the author hinted at more books. I'm just not down for that. I think from what I've seen on Twitter, I think Priory is a standalone and that the other books are just going to be in the same world, not really a sequel to it. That's just from, I don't know if it's true. I could be wrong, but maybe that's, yeah.
Why the hell is my boss sending me an email tonight?
Oh no.
Because you are his most entrusted employee.
Actually, it's a she, but that's beside the point. It's actually I actually work for a guy and a girl, so.
It's just like he is easier to say than she, and that's why generally when people are pregnant, they consider the baby a he until they get the gender, and then.
Not in my family. When every single one of them was pregnant, they were just referred to as fetus.
Really?
Yep.
I have never heard that before.
Yeah, until they officially found out the gender.
Yeah, our daughter, Gabby, for some odd reason.
Oh, can I tell the story?
Fine, you can tell the story.
So Lori told me that our daughter was saying that Lori was pregnant with twins, basically. She would lay on Lori's belly and she goes, "Mommy, you're having 2 babies." And so a little bit of backstory way back when I was 2 years old, I told my mom that she was pregnant when she was pregnant for my little brother. Shout out for my little brother, Joshua. I hated him growing up, but he's fucking awesome now. And I'm kind of upset because he's bigger than me.
Anyways, basically.
So, before my mom found out that she was pregnant, before she even missed her period, I told her she was pregnant for my little brother. Now, my oldest daughter, Gabriella, has been laying on my wife's belly and going, "Mommy, you're having 2 babies." So we're sitting in the Starbucks drive-through line when I say, and I got my white chocolate mocha with 6 shots of espresso. Hell yeah. So I asked
Please let me know how Mars is this time of year.
Yeah, he asked Gabby.
I asked Gabby, I said, "Hey, Gabby, how many babies are in Mommy's belly?" And she goes, 1 and 2 babies. My brother and sister. So it's going to be interesting on Thursday if we find out we're having twins.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just funny with Gabby because she keeps saying, "I just know, Mommy. I just know." And she prays about it.
Well, I will not be surprised if I see the 2 of you walking around with IV bags filled with coffee. They're just going straight into your bloodstream.
That's not even coffee. It's going to be espresso.
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? When the day comes that my wife and I officially start to plan for a family, I already basically am anticipating myself to literally sleeping in the kitchen on the floor by the Keurig, and it will be on, and I'm like, the alarm will go off. I'm just going to basically put my face right underneath the spout and just pour the coffee right into my mouth.
So I have to say, I am extremely happy that you guys in the chat have stuck around for this long. You guys are fucking amazing.
Yeah, and thank you, Mark. Ask her what the lotto numbers are. If she did.
If she understood what that was, I would totally ask her. But we will let y'all. That's another thing we got to keep posted. Thursday is our first baby appointment. Whoop, whoop.
Ready.
And I work Thursday night, so my first night off.
I'm glad we're having this happy hour too, Steve. You want to know why? Because this one is working every single night starting tomorrow until the following Monday.
And I got an 8-night stretch coming up, 12-hour shifts.
Okay, well then, you know what? Everything happens for a reason, does it not?
Worked out.
Yes, everything does happen for
It's been a great conversation. I wasn't, and you know something, and you know something, this was something that I was completely okay with. Like, my wife was saying to me, "You really gonna do a live stream on Sunday night?" She's like, "Don't you have to like get stuff done for work?" I'm like, "But this is not one of those types of live streams that you really have to prepare for anything. This is just a nice casual conversation, and whatever comes up in the conversation goes." You know, that's the beauty of these types of conversations. With everything else, like, I'm writing scripts, I'm setting up time frames. Like, your live show that you guys are going to have with me in 2 weeks is going to be completely different from this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll get through that. So hopefully I'll get through The Wolves of Calla, which is the Stephen King book, and then I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and then I'm going to reread my favorite book of all time, which is It.
I can't.
How do you get through rereads? I can't do it. I remember too much from the book, and then I just wind up losing interest. It actually makes me hate the book that I loved before.
You know what? There are very few books that I can truly enjoy in a reread, but I'm rereading it because I am prepping for It Chapter 2 when it comes out in theaters in September. Very excited for the second movie. I never bought the first movie on DVD, which is such a shame because I loved the first movie. But the problem was these stupid goddamn rumors about a director's cut that is supposed to be coming out, which never happened. So now I'm hearing better rumors where after the second movie is made, they're going to take the first movie and the second movie, and they're going to weave the two movies together so all the events that take place in both of those movies go in the exact same order as they do in the book. In one whole movie.
That's awesome. So two things. One, I got to answer a comment. Daniel, no, it is not required, but it should be. Ender's Game is absolutely amazing. I did read the entire series.
Book and film. I love them. I love the movie.
I didn't see the movie, but I read the books. Two, I can't wait for Chapter 2 to come out because she's gonna watch it with me, and I get all the cuddles. And three.
Wait, September? Who knows? Maybe the baby will come early.
Also, Daniel, not that early.
Oh, right.
That's birth defects.
Sorry.
What?
I'm trying to get out of watching it. I don't want to watch it. Okay.
And three, also Ender's Game is such a great militaristic strategy amazingness that it was just, I could see this happening in the future. And all
that is one of the few books that I actually read after I saw the film. And I gotta tell you, I can't say which one is better. They're both, the movie is very, very different from the book to the point where it really does stand out on its own. And I like them both just the same. But Asa Butterfield in that movie, when he goes up against Harrison Ford acting-wise, it's so powerful. The acting in that film is stellar. Harrison Ford, Sir Ben Kingsley, Viola Davis, Asa Butterfield, Haley Steinfeld, they're all absolutely fantastic. It really is the characters that drive that film.
Stacy, you know what? You might actually be right, and that might have been what got me into what pointed me toward that, because I was trying to get promoted to corporal before I stopped carrying. But the Commandant's reading list, it was just amazing anyway, because it adds in nonfiction military style books, and then it also adds in psychology books. It adds in and the Commandant's reading list, for those of you that don't know, are books recommended by the Commandant of the Marine Corps, which is the highest ranking officer in the Marine Corps, that he is recommended by present and past commandants. And when you read them, you do a little quick test over it. You can get it for points toward promotion. So I greatly appreciate you bringing that up, and yeah, that is actually what pointed me toward that on my first employment, because my stars have fallen for the Commandant's reason list.
Yeah, and
Harper. Yeah.
And I also think that what really
Bye,
does,
Tabby.
Oh, Tabby's leaving. Okay, very nice that she came by. I also think that one of the great ways to really reread a book is when you actually do it in a buddy read, because that's another thing that I've been doing a great deal of this year. I've been doing a lot of buddy reads lately, and they really are such a driving force to reading those books and discussing those books with other people. And there are some books where I will say the one book that I will never buddy read is Harry Potter, because that's just something I read on my own time. That's my own time. I'm rereading the series right now because I'm rereading the illustrated editions.
He has the illustrated editions. He won't let me have one.
Because they're like $90.
No.
What are you talking about? They're $23.
Compared to like the $10 paperbacks.
It's a nice birthday gift. I mean, I pre-ordered the Goblet of Fire for $30. I'm pretty sure that by the time it officially comes to my door, it'll be $22.
Okay, but she's gonna want to buy all new of the series that parts of the series she already has.
But let me plead the case here.
Medical bill, pregnancy bill, minivan bill.
Okay, minivan. Yeah, I'm gonna have to learn a little bit more about minivans because my wife needs a new car soon. I feel that the best part about those Harry Potter illustrated editions is when you read them, it's like you're reading the series again for the very first time.
And we could read it with the kids if they're pictures.
I mean, when I first bought, that's one of the few things that I love. I bring one of those things home, and my wife sees that I bought, and she's like, "Okay." Because that's the other thing. We actually have a very interesting money system. We have joint accounts, but we also have his and hers.
I know a lot.
Because it was something that. Yeah, what were you gonna say?
So I have an agreement and a disagreement with that. We have multiple accounts for multiple different purposes. I feel like
works.
No, and that's fine. I'm not judging. I'm just throwing my point of view out.
Yeah.
So you can take it with a grain of salt. And you and your wife have been married for, I think, at least as long as Lori and I have been, if not longer. I know we've talked about this before, but I'm having a brain fart.
We've only been married. We're not even married for 3 years yet.
Okay, so we got you beat.
We dated for 6 years.
Okay, so you got us beat.
Actually, no, wait. What am I talking about? No. We started dating in 2012. We got engaged in 2015. We got married in 2016.
Danielle Phillips is a new subscriber to your channel.
Oh yeah, she's one of I was missing.
Oh, hi Danielle.
She's not watching.
Oh fuck. Sorry.
He gets so distracted.
It's the boobs.
Okay, what were you guys talking? You got married in 2016.
Yes. So he was telling me about the account stuff.
So I completely disagree with having separate accounts. Just
everybody else.
My issue with separate accounts is it makes it more it goes into the whole religious aspect of becoming one. I think that having separate accounts makes it easier to hide things. To show that you have the aspect of being able to separate and you still have your separate accounts. So that's just my opinion. I think Lori and I, I'm obviously the breadwinner. Lori stays home with the kids, but I've never said this is my money unless it's been in a joking manner. So it's always been everything is ours, and that's just That was
No, and you're not the only one who has said that. As a matter of fact, it was an idea that I wasn't even sure was going to actually be a reality once we decided to get married. But when I actually asked my wife about it, it was her who actually wanted it more than I did, because she said, I don't want to spend your money on my bras. That was her exact words.
But
she was like, there are certain things that she said that there are certain things that I buy that are just for me, and I don't want to spend our money on my thing. Just like she's completely okay with, like, what do I use my own money for? Movies, music, and Funko Pops. That's what I basically spend my money on. And maybe the occasional new clothes or a new pair of shoes, but that's my stuff, you know? But and the other thing is, I tell my wife everything I buy. She knows everything.
So I can completely agree with that, in that aspect.
It's because of the fact. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but it's because of the fact that I knew a person who actually like spent a whole bunch of money on crap that he didn't even tell his significant other about. And believe me, it got hairy.
Yeah, most definitely. So Lori, when she was working, we called her money the fun money, because I was making the more money. My money was covering the bills. Her money was covering the fun stuff.
Similar to what my in-laws do.
Yeah. So that was just what we did. But
you know something, whatever, you know what it really is at the end of the day, it's whatever works. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like, I know for a solid fact that my own personal money just goes to paying two major things, and that's my life insurance bill and my personal credit card. Everything that I buy that are personal expenses for me, they go on that one specific credit card. Everything else is joint, and it's kind of funny. It's like, and it's also kind of, and I also think that to a certain extent, it makes it a little bit more comfortable, because it's like, if I come home one night and I decide that I want to eat salmon for dinner because I like fish, she doesn't like fish, she will go to Stu Leonard's and she'll come home with a chili, and she will have paid for that chili with her own money, not our money, because she's like, you're not eating this chili, it's not yours. So totally understood.
And I want to make it 150,000% clear. I was not judging.
Oh, no. Oh, of course not. No, don't think that. I'm just explaining it. See, that's one of the few things that people that are just not rational don't seem to understand. I don't like the fact that when someone says something and then the other person just explains the logic around their mindset after hearing the other person's opinion. It's not that we're trying to argue here. We're just trying to define it and explain why it makes sense to me. Now, if everyone else and their mother could do the exact same thing in this world, we'd all be in a much better place.
Yes, most definitely. And I completely agree, as I would get along with humanity in general if everybody thought like me.
Yeah.
Lori generally calls me, if I ever had superpowers, I would become the king of the world, because everybody that didn't agree with me would die.
So you basically are the kind of person that if you put a quote in your yearbook, it would be, you're entitled to your opinion, but mine's the right one?
Yes.
No, actually.
You don't.
I say that and mean it now. I'm very headstrong. I don't know how you are about horoscopes, but back in the day, before I became Catholic, very much I used to read the horoscopes and be like, yeah, I could agree with that. I could pick and choose what makes it seem like I'm a Taurus. But Taurus are known to be are very, very hard-headed, and that's generally me. It's very hard to change my mind.
Mm-hmm. That's my wife. She's also a Taurus.
You have to have a lot of facts.
I feel like we would get along with your wife so well.
Yeah, it's a pity that she's a teacher and doesn't want to be on the doesn't want to show her face because she doesn't want to find out if any one of her kids might actually watch. That's her main concern. No, believe me. What?
Hey, eventually we stop broadcast.
Yeah, but yeah, that is true. But it's Sunday, and Sunday is when she is in full-on work mode. So I do not. And also now we're getting to the point where her shows are on, so she's watching her whatever. I always confuse it. She's either watching NCIS or CSI.
Oh,
By the way, she yelled at me when I told her that we were going to be having our live show on the 14th at 8 o'clock. She's like, "You do know that it's the season premiere of Game of Thrones."
Oh,
yeah, it is.
We have to do it because I don't know when the overtime's coming.
I know. We can't change. The 14th is set, so we're just gonna have to wait till Game of Thrones.
Well, we have Amazon Prime.
We do.
But that's the thing. I'm trying to tell her I don't think that Game of Thrones is on at 8.
No, I don't think it's on till 10.
But then she says, but she's like, but Steve, here's the other problem. She says,
Game of Thrones.
They're not hour-long episodes now. Now each episode is 90 minutes.
What?
Yeah, because the season's only going to be 8 episodes.
Only 8 episodes.
Well, it's only 2 episodes left.
I don't care. I was addicted.
Yeah.
I was addicted to that series. But yeah. Going back.
Nah, Jen loves Game of Thrones. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Game of Thrones too. But the minute she starts going into all the other stories outside of the actual Game of Thrones show, I'm like, Jen, I'm not interested. I don't care. I only care about the show. I mean, I got my little Game of Thrones pop collection right over there.
It's not online.
Oh, it's not?
No, that upsets me.
Well, I'm going to definitely have to make sure that we're recording it on DVR because I basically am in charge of putting all the DVRs together. So.
Do you have Amazon Prime?
Of course I do. As a matter of fact, I just watched The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, finally. Both seasons.
I haven't checked that one out yet.
That is well, first of all, that is The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is American Judaism on steroids. It's like, it's basically about a Jewish woman on the Upper East Side of Manhattan in the late 1950s. Her marriage basically falls apart and she decides to be a stand-up comedian.
Okay, so I'm going to say this one comment. We have to get off this topic or we're going to go back into politics. Netflix and Amazon Prime coming out with their own movie shows with their own high-profile actors and actresses is absolutely fucking amazing because Hollywood doesn't have control over them. And that's all I'm going to say. And we have to get off this topic or we're going to go back into politics.
Well, my issue, I'm saying, I'm not going to go into politics, but I am going to give you my own 2 cents on the streaming services.
That's fine, and we're done.
I seriously believe that with what's happening right now with streaming services, that they are going to implode.
I completely disagree with you.
I don't like the fact that every single company now wants to have their own streaming service. You might as well get your cable back. I am not getting Disney Plus. I'm not getting Warner Brothers streaming service. I'm not getting Universal streaming service. I don't want them. The cloud is a lie. I am very much against I have streaming services, but I am a physical media person. I want my copies.
Okay, I 120,050 infinity completely disagree with you. So the fact that Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, internet television are all coming, even YouTube are all coming out with their own for a cheaper price. I think that's capitalism at its base.
No, hold up. That's the thing. I don't look. I'm not talking about it from a capitalistic standpoint. I'm 100% on board with the whole concept of capitalism. I just don't want to. I just don't want to buy all this crap.
Okay, but even the fact that Netflix just came out with Hannah for a series. Hannah was an amazing movie.
Oh, that
came out within like the last I'm going to say 10 years because I can't remember exactly when it came out. I know it was a while ago. But the fact that they're coming out with a series for it now, it came out, Amazon in and of itself came out with Jack Reacher.
Right.
That was a fucking top-notch acting. For even Amazon hasn't been doing this for very long.
Daniel says, I thought it was Amazon that has it.
Yes, that's what I said.
You said Netflix.
Did I?
Yes.
I am sorry, Amazon Prime. That is what I'm on my own stick about right now. Amazon as a company, amazing props to you. You're an idiot for doing what you did with your wife, but that's besides the point. So you
Come back to New York. Come back. Open a plant in New York. Get the jobs here.
I hope you get some sleep. X-Files, that is awesome. Totally agree with that. Although I don't know how old your children are, but that would be definitely something.
Oh, her kids are in their early teens now, maybe even late teens now.
All for it.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree from a money-making standpoint. It's just that it's like I am a little upset over the DC Comics streaming service because that is the only place where I can now officially watch the 3rd season of Young Justice. But I'm not interested in anything else that they're offering. So, like, I'm hoping that at some point in time, they will put that show out on DVD. And when they do, I'll buy it. That's when I'll buy it.
Okay, so you're someone that buys DVDs.
Yeah, and Blu-rays.
When you look at average cable versus Amazon Prime and just Amazon Prime and Netflix, because they're the only two I know. Just the streaming services versus average cable, they don't match up.
Prime's pretty expensive.
It's $100 a year. How much are you spending for cable a month?
Yeah, you're right. But other thing, yeah.
So with Amazon Prime and HBO, actually, I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's 9:30, guys. I think we're going to take this debate off of online, and we'll post on Twitter the results more than likely. I hope you guys all have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for joining us. It was fun.
Thank you, because our joiners are dropping like flies.
I know, it is after 9:30, and it is fun.
Basically, when you're approaching the 2-hour mark, that's usually when you just cut it all together, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys for sticking around for the even during the political aspect, and I'm sorry for that if anybody got offended. So I definitely hope to hear from you guys later, and we'll catch y'all later.
Okay. Bye.